Have you lost your mind?
No, ma'am, but you about to.
Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn. Today's deck is another one straight out of Aetherdrift Standard. This one's called Easy Bake Oven, and we're going back to Brightglass Gearhulk, but we're trying out a new slant with it. We're trying to focus specifically on artifacts, because Teething Wurmlet is so good and happens to be a 1-drop that we can fetch with the Gearhulk. So we're trying to just go super deep on artifacts and seeing how good we can make the deck function with that sort of a build. Now, before we get into the deck, please like the video. It helps me get the video out to so many more people and helps the channel grow. Also, subscribe if you're new so you never miss an upload. Tons of content on the way. And catch me live Monday through Friday over on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/quarantinecapricorn. Because if I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. Also, this weekend, March 21st through 23rd, I will be at the first Shattering, making my first public appearance since becoming a content creator. So if you guys are interested in that at all, definitely check out the comments and the description. I'm going to link a video with all of the details about the first Shattering. Come hang out with me, check out a brand new game called Wonders of the First that is launching. We're going to play the game for the first time. I'm going to record a ton of videos. I'm going to hang out with everybody. So hopefully I see you there. Now let's break down the deck. Alright, so this is Easy Bake Oven, and we're going back to Brightglass Gearhulk, and just like the previous Brightglass Gearhulk deck that we brewed, we're going into 𝐵𝑎𝑛𝑡, but this time we're tilting it much more heavily into artifacts. We're trying to go as wide with artifacts as possible for a myriad of different artifact synergies that we have in the deck. So first of all, we have Teething Wurmlet, which is just a 1-drop 1/1. It has Death Touch as long as you control 3 or more artifacts, which is super relevant. And whenever an artifact you control enters, you gain a life. And if it's the first time this ability has resolved this turn, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. So the more artifacts we play, the bigger the Teething Wurmlet gets. It's a big old death striker, and that can be super good if we play it on 1, but it can also be really good if we play out the Brightglass Gearhulk for 4 and fetch a couple of Teething Wurmlets and start just vomiting them out onto the field later on in the game, and then playing a bunch of artifacts. Just being able to put more pressure onto the board to pressure our opponent's life total seems really, really good because of the fact that Brightglass Gearhulk can find any 1-drop that's an artifact, a creature, or enchantment. So not only is it finding those Wurmlets, but it's also finding a lot of the artifacts that will fuel those Wurmlets. And in similar fashion, we also have 4 copies of Yotian Dissident, which is just a 2-mana 1/1, but whenever an artifact you control enters, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. This is especially good because you don't have to cast the artifact. The artifacts can be artifact counters, artifact tokens rather, or artifacts that you make copies of, or whatever the case may be. Any artifact at all entering is going to get you a +1/+1 counter that you can put on any creature you want. So if you play a Brightglass Gearhulk after a Yotian Dissident, it can trigger the Yotian Dissident, put a counter on the Gearhulk, and add the counter to a first striking trampling creature, which is super relevant. I love the fact that the Gearhulk gets to put basically a counter on itself when it enters play if you have the Dissident in play, which is really nice, but then you can just start to stack up even more counters on the Gearhulk or on the Wurmlet or whatever you want in the subsequent turns as long as you have the Dissident still in play. We also have 2 copies of Transit Mage because just like previous 𝐵𝑎𝑛𝑡 Gearhulk decks, being able to play Transit Mage and search up your Gearhulk just helps keep the consistency super high for Gearhulk. We're also running 4 copies of Mockingbird for a similar reason. We can copy our Gearhulks or our Transit Mages to fetch whatever we need and get even more gas onto the battlefield while also having flying, and having a giant 4/4 first strike flying trampling Gearhulk is super nice with all the synergies that we have with this deck. We also have a myriad of 1-drops that we can search out with the Gearhulk. So 1 Dusk Rose Reliquary for removal, 1 Skrelv for protection, 1 case of the Filched Falcon because it works really well with our artifact synergies, helps us put another artifact onto the battlefield, gets us another flying creature, also gets us some card advantage if we need it. We've got 1 Haywire Mite that we can find because it's another artifact that works with our artifact synergies, but also helps us to exile problematic artifacts and enchantments that our opponent has. We also have one copy of Ghost Vacuum because it helps us deal with decks that really rely on their graveyard super well. And in this deck, if we could just get to 6 mana, which isn't too tough, we can actually get back a lot of things that we're stealing from their graveyard, but also like the Gearhulks of our own and the Transit Mages and all the other creatures that we're playing with that have died as we're curving out. So Ghost Vacuum can be good in multiple different ways. We're also running one copy of Lost Jitte, just a really good one of legendary equipment that we can find to get us a whole bunch of versatile value on the field. One copy of Goldvein Hydra, because even though it isn't an artifact, it makes a whole bunch of artifact when it dies, which really helps with our synergies. But also, if it's just later in the game we have a ton of mana, this is something we can fetch to just use all of that mana and have a huge threat on the battlefield, which is super nice. We also have a couple of copies of both Marketback Walker and Gingerbrute, which can be really good in different situations. Being able to fetch Gingerbrutes so that you can get through for the last bits of damage without having to worry about blockers because of their haste ability activation is super nice. In a similar fashion, we have the 2 Marketback Walkers because even though they don't technically cost 1, they cost 1 or less because they're a double X cost. So we can fetch it out with the Brightglass Gearhulk, play that almost kind of in the similar way that we play Goldvein Hydra, where later in the game we could just dump all of our mana into it and get a ton of value, but it's still something we can play for very cheap early on while we're curving out. Sometimes just playing it for 2 mana, getting a body on the field that chump blocks and then draws us a card when it does. Sometimes that's all that matters. We also in the 2-drop slot have 4 copies of Tough Cookie. For 2 mana, this is going to create a food artifact token when it enters and give us the ability to animate all of our non-creature artifacts, which is super nice. And if we really need to, we can just sack the Tough Cookie to gain life, which is helpful against aggro. But being able to go wide with those artifacts is especially good for all of our artifact synergies. We also have one copy of Sir Ginger, because as our artifacts die, this thing gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's especially good against planeswalkers. So if our opponent's playing some kind of a control build where they're really leaning on planeswalkers, Sir Ginger can just kind of come out of nowhere and get us some extra value, swing in immediately, and sometimes kill that planeswalker when our opponent doesn't see it coming. We also have one copy of Mendicant Core Guidelight because we happen to be in the right colors for it. This is just a really big powered body in a deck that puts a ton of artifacts onto the field. But also, if we do happen to get to max speed, we can start copying all of our artifacts, even copying our Gearhulks, which seems really nice. The last card is a lone copy of Liberator, Urza's Battlethopter, because we can flash this out on our opponent's turn, and then all of our artifacts gain the ability to get flashed out. I don't want to use more than one of these because if we have an extra one sitting in our hand, it kind of feels bad. But if we do happen to get the Liberator and get it out, being able to flash in our Brightglass Gearhulks is kind of insane. We can blow them out on the blocks and get way ahead on tempo, and it can be kind of nuts. So that's the deck. The mana is very specific. We do have one copy of Valgavoth's Lair in there because we can search it out with the Gearhulk. But as for the rest of the lands, check the deck description in the comments, and let's check out the gameplay. Alright, we're going to keep this. This looks pretty good. We got time to get to the rest of our stuff. So we'll start with the Razorverge Thicket and a Teething Wurmlet. Cut down my Teething Wurmlet. How rude. How rude. No blue yet, that's fine. We'll play a Tough Cookie. Pass turn. Alright, another Floodfarm Verge. We will attack with a Tough Cookie. Play another Tough Cookie. You got that qualifier token yesterday. Congratulations, boss. Very cool. I thought we might hit a counterspell. So then we'll play the Skrelv. If we hit 4 mana, we'll probably play the Walker. Stock up A. Stock up A. Well, I guess we'll just play the Teething Wurmlet. And you know what? We might as well do this as well. because it will trigger the Wurmlet. Very slow start for us. I'm already starting to think that any Brightglass Gearhulk deck without Land of War Elves might be less than stellar. Might be less than stellar. Alright, we need more mana. I guess we'll just do this. And swing for a bunch. We could have Mockingbirded something. Tough Cookie probably, so that we could trigger the Teething Wurmlet. I don't think it's worth it. He's gonna be dead next turn. Thank you for the Nectar Foozy. The cover up is deadly. It's true. At least we get to draw a card. What did he get rid of? Oh, all of my Marketback Walkers. We don't have very many, my friend. We don't have very many. We'll keep the Liberator, why not? That looks fun. We know he's got counter spells. We'll pass. We're gonna do some Liberator shenanigans here. 𝔼𝔸𝕂𝔼𝐻. Baby, you ain't seen nothing yet. Baby, you ain't seen nothing yet. How about that? Is that a good response? Seer. Get rid of the land. What's with the land, bro? Do a little smashy smash. If he kills the Liberator, we flash in the Gearhulk in response. Seems pretty okay. Bitter Triumph. It's not gonna work for me. That is not gonna work for me, my friend. We have a lot of mana, so the Goldvein Hydra will be pretty good. We could grab another Teething Wurmlet. He's trying to just control and mill us. We probably want to kill the Monument, right? Probably want to kill the Monument. Flash it in, flash it in. Get rid of that Monument. Get out of here. Get out of here. I would like to see your peeking, Cyrodiil. If by peek you mean you watching my screen while you play matches against me like a coward, then I think you're the one that's peeking. Right? Give it a little peeky peek. Do a little peeksy. The Portico is Lush. He knows we have a Goldvein Hydra. A little late for that. Actually, that'd probably be pretty good with all the treasures, huh? You can't kill everything. I mean, if he counters the Goldvein Hydra, we still get to swing with the Gearhulk. He's gonna kill something, right? Probably the Hydra? Oof. I don't know if that was smart, my friend. I don't know if that was smart, my friend. You go to 2. We have all the treasure in the world. You got more removal. Sneaky peeky. You go. No, you go.
Surrender your mind to Phyrexia's rule.
Go ahead, mill me out.
Our plans are
Really?
beyond your comprehension.
Wow, okay. Well. You get to say about this. We just need a way to get through for a little bit more damage. How do we do it, guys? Ginger Brute? And, Ginger Brute? Oh, I feel like an asshole. Three steps ahead? Drawing cards? What are you gonna do with the cards? What are you gonna do with the cards, man? Oh, come on. I was just getting started. Sand's not great, but it's fine. We'll try and keep it. We will try and keep it. We'll start with a Hedge Maze. Another Yotian Dissident. No siree. Pass a turn. I guess we'll go Thicket Dissident. It does mean we're not going to be able to play our Liberator on 3, which is kind of a bummer. Why do we keep coming up against aggro decks? Probably because it's all that's on the ladder, right? Probably. We got to get to our next land. So we're going to dump it. I guess we go like this. I think this makes the most sense. So now we block with the Marketback Walker. We get to draw cards, which seems fine. He's just going to pump up whatever we block, so I'd rather block the thing that's smaller. We don't want him to target the Emberheart Challenger, if possible. Alright, so we take 6. Draw some cards. Draw another card. I guess we go Hushwood Verge. And we pass the turn. I think we can actually blow him out on blocks. Trying to think of the smartest way to do this. Guess we do that. Shard Mage's Rescue. Sure. Kill his thing. We'll go to 4. We can get rid of the trample with the Haywire Mite, which is nice. We can also copy something. Probably just copy the Haywire Mite. Counter on the Dissident. I guess we pass the turn, right? If we can just survive at 4 life, we're probably fine. The Haywire Mites gain us a 2 extra life each. Sure. It's a bad move putting it on the Swift Spear, though. Block here. Block here. Block here. I hit the wrong thing. I hit the wrong thing. He's still dead, but I hit the wrong thing. Alright, we're going to keep 7. This looks good. We're going to start with... I don't really think we care if we get the Haywire Mite out. But we do want Dissident onto Liberator on 3. So we're going to play the Archive. I don't want to dump the Hydra in the graveyard, so I'm going to keep it on top. It might be a mistake. Well, no, because if we hit a Gearhulk and then we are missing our 4th land to play it because we kept this on top instead of being 1 turn closer, we can just play the Hydra, and when he kills it, we get some treasure, right? Alright. Dissident's out. Dissident is out. Do it. He has no idea we have a Liberator. Doesn't even... It's not even in his realm of possibility. Not even, bro. Not even in the realm of possibility in his brain. Vanguard, sure. Case of the Gateway Express. Each creature we control deals 1 damage. Well, we can't make it big enough. But we can do that. And make it so he can't swing. Which isn't nothing, right? We Goldvein Hydra. And we race. We race, boys. Because why not? You're not wrong, Rob, by the way. Nothing better than beating control. Arabo the first Fang. Only the first Fang? Alright, doesn't have vigilance. I mean, yeah, I'll block and get some treasures. Fine with that. What's with all these Mockingbirds, bro? I guess we just start stealing his deck, right? Start stealing his deck, right? Why not? Pass turn. We gotta do what we gotta do, right? We gotta do what we gotta do. Just use the Mockingbirds to copy his deck. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. My turn, you say? Really tempted to get rid of that case of the Gateway Express. What is going on here? What do I even do? What do I even do? Well, if we do that, we get to put a counter on Liberator, regardless of what we copy. I guess we'll copy you. And we'll swing in so that he has to trade with his 𝔼𝔸𝕂𝔼. Sky Knight Squire? 𝔼𝔸𝕂𝔼. Okay. I guess he takes 7. We're racing effectively. We're not really doing what we're supposed to be doing with this deck, but I mean, hey, the fact that this deck can pivot and just do something like this in extreme cases where it calls for it, that's gotta count for something, right? That's gotta count for something. Alright, he's got one big boy. But we have a lot more in the air than him. So I think we just attack with our flyers. Right? Maybe not. Maybe not exactly. Mendicant Core. Mendicant Core. We'd get through for 6 and put him at 3 if we attacked with our flyers. He'd eat the 8/8 with his 9/9. He'd eat the Liberator with his 5/5. It's not good enough. We're gonna have to wait. We're gonna have to wait. At least we have good blockers. And we've got Haywire Mite if we need it. If we can just top deck a Brightglass Gearhulk, life will be so much easier. Life will be so much easier. Jitte. Well, that is certainly something, isn't it? We have to get charge counters onto it, which means it has to get through for damage. So if we put the Jitte on one of the smaller flyers, he won't block it. And then if we attack with everything, but we'd lose our two biggest dudes. But we get a counter on the Jitte. If we can get a counter on the Jitte, we can make it so his big flyers can't block. It's just not... It's not feasible yet. It's not feasible yet. But I think it will be in the future, so we're going to prepare for it. Pass the turn. Just hold off. We're at a stalemate. If he swings with anything, we have lethal on the crackback, so he can't really take the chance. Alright, Pride Mate. What's up with all my pronunciation today, huh? Alright. All the boys. Every single boy. Really? You're gonna swing? You're gonna swing. Are you out of your mind? Does he have something that gives trample at instant speed for 1 mana? Dude, I'm so confused. I am so confused. I am so confused. I think he's got trample. Because he's not in a position where he has to make a last hurrah yet. That's the confusing part. That's the confusing part. Although I guess having the third flyer now does make a difference. Right? Draw with the clue. Another land? Come on, man. Yeah, Yeah, we're just dead. That was a dumb game. I made some bad decisions. I think I underestimated the third flyer. There were so many turns in a row where I was just thinking, if he can attack with those and I can get rid of one of those flyers, then this game is mine. If I can just like double or triple block and kill one of those big flyers, and he's down to only having one flyer, the game is mine. And I think I was thinking that for so many turns in a row, that when he finally attacked, I underestimated him having an additional flyer in the mix, how much that would matter. I was thinking along the same lines. I was thinking like, oh, just get rid of the big flyer and you're golden. You have a superior board position that you can eventually get through for the win. And that third flyer just made all the difference in the world. This looks okay. We have no 1-drops. Well, we have Jitte, but we don't have the 1-drops we want. In fact, we're not even going to bother to play it yet. We're just going to do the lair for white. Pass the turn. Better to play it after a Dissident, I think. At this point, at least. So we'll go Botanical Sanctum on 2, or on 3 rather. 𝔼𝔸𝕊𝕐 Jitte. Or we could go Jitte, equip, attack, get a charge counter, untap a land, 𝔼𝔸𝕊𝕐. But, you know, Dissident's dead now, so forget all of that. We'll Portico, dump a land, play a 𝔼𝔸𝕊𝕐, pass the turn. What do we want? Probably Mockingbird and Teething Wurmlet? Let's attack. Doesn't have blue, so we know we can land it. If he kills it, it stinks, but it's not the end of the world. We get a Mockingbird in case he doesn't. And we'll get a Teething Wurmlet in case he does. Fat's hatch. How fat's is the hatch? How fat's is the hatch? 𝔼𝔸𝕊𝕐𝔼 Gearhulk. Sure. We'll go Teething Wurmlet. Teething Wurmlet. Probably better to save the Marketback Walker. Play the Jitte. Put the counters on the Wurmlets. Gain some life. Equip the Jitte to the 𝔼𝔸𝕊𝕐. Removal check. Sir. Untap a land. We'll untap the Sanctum. So that we can play. We could Mockingbird the Wurmlet. But if he's rocking 𝔼𝔸𝕊𝕐𝕋, he probably has sweepers, right? Let's case. Let's case so that we have a way to recover from a potential sweeper. We'll also Marketback Walker for as much as possible next turn. Alright, everything's dead. It's fine. So, Marketback Walker for 3. Sure is something. Sentinel. Map token. He is running out of gas, though. Bushwhacks. We get to draw 3. Seems okay. Seems okay. Start with a Transit Mage. Find a Gearhulk. Then we can Portico. Get rid of the land. Let's see, we've got 3 mana. 3. Flip the Jitte to the Transit Mage so that when we block, we get a counter on it. Double block the Sentinel is what I'm thinking. Do what we can. Do what we can. Alright. Hope he survives. We get a counter. Phyrexian Obliterator. That's a problem. Good thing we have a Gearhulk. Good thing we have a Gearhulk. Take action. We definitely need the Dusk Rose Reliquary. We've already got a Mockingbird. Teething Wurmlet might be good because of Death Touch. Ghost Vacuum would be really good too, though. Because we have enough mana to actually use it. Where to go Ghost Vacuum? So, first things first. We will sacrifice a food to eat the Obliterator. And he scoops! That's it! He can't handle it. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.